project today, making ruffled pillowcases to romanticize our life. So these are all thrifted materials. If you don't already have these lying around, which you may have pillowcases and some fabric you can cut up, but if not, definitely head to your local thrift store. You're gonna find everything you need here. So I'm gonna make two pillowcases today, a patterned one and more of a simple one because we're gonna dye it. So the patterned one, I have this red plaid thrifted pillowcase. I think it came as a set for a couple bucks. It feels like nice cotton. It's been broken in and softened. It has this great little stripe detail. And I love mixing patterns, so I thought this pillowcase, this ruffle trim would be quite lovely. This is a vintage, I think it's 1940s or 50s. It's a linen, it was a tablecloth. And I've already been cutting this up for appliques, and it's already served in many ways, but now it's going to be transformed into some ruffles for our pillowcase. So this will be the colorful one. And then I have a white, or I think it's cream really, a cream pillowcase, ivory. And these are what most of us have lying around, just basics. And then we're gonna be adding this lace. You can use any lace, honestly, as long as it's something you'd wanna have in bed with you. If it's soft enough, some lace is scratchy. This one is quite lovely. I do believe it's a natural fiber, so I'm taking a chance, but I have a feeling it's gonna take the dye well, because natural fibers are the best to dye with. Before I start a creative project, I like to set the space for ritual. I found this beautiful little incense holder that was gifted to me as I was preparing to set the space, and I just noticed that it actually really mirrors this necklace that I put on today, which I had never noticed before. So this is the perfect example of, because I am slowing down to set the space to create, I am already creating, because creating starts with noticing. And by starting a creative project with this much intention and beauty, you're definitely gonna have the best chance of the highest outcome for whatever you create. Okay, so to dye the pillowcase, I am using Avocado, and what I do is keep a kind of mesh bag in the freezer, and every time I cut an avocado to eat, I save the skins and the seeds, and I try to clean them off as best I can, and then I just throw them right in this bag and keep it in the freezer. And that means that this bundle is ready to be thrown into a cauldron and be transformed into dye for our textiles. What's really great about avocado, and it's perfect for if this is your first time dyeing with plants or nature, it is a self-contained alchemy. There are other plants that you'll need to use tannins so that the fiber can hold on to the color. But avocado comes complete with its own tannin source, so it not only provides color, but helps the fabric hold on to the molecules of color through something known as tannins, which are also found in wine, and they kind of give you that, like the dryness in the mouth. Tannins are also present in tea, so you can almost kind of start to taste like what the tannin essence is, and then imagining that like that dry, bitter essence is the element that helps the fibers open up to receive the color. It offers kind of a roughening effect, almost like sanding something, sanding a piece of wood so it will receive the stain that you're putting on. The tannins prepare the fibers to work with the color. All I'm gonna do is tie up this bag and drop it into the cauldron. So I've got a big pot going here, and I'm bringing the water to a boil. This is a pot that I picked up at, well, I get them at the thrift stores, or I've also found them at Home Goods and Home Sense. Just treat yourself to a nice big pot so the fabric will fit inside, and use it only for dyeing. So you should have a designated dyeing cauldron. That is ideal, because some of the elements and minerals that we work with in natural dyeing are not necessarily food safe or ideal for surfaces that are also coming into contact with food. So have your own cauldron just for dyeing. Trust me, once you start using it, you'll use it all the time if you don't already. So I'm putting these avocado skins and pits. I think this was from 4 or 5 avocados total. So I'm going to drop this into the cauldron. With this amount of dye product, I'm not expecting a very dark or rich color, and that's perfect. Because honestly, the look I'm going for in this pillowcase is very romantic, tea-stained, kind of a very delicate pink, almost as if it was tea-stained with a little kiss of a pink. So I believe this amount of material will be perfect for the effect I'm hoping to achieve. But if you're looking for a richer, brighter color, I would use 2 or 3 times this much material. Okay, so I'm just dropping them in. And timing. How long will this material take to break down in the water and release the dye? I am gonna let this simmer for an hour and then check the color, and I believe that will be a good amount of time. Okay, so welcome to my measuring spot. It's the floor. This is my favorite place to play, honestly. Unless you have a giant table, the floor is the best. So this tablecloth is an oval shape, and I'm going to be cutting off the edge. And this will be the ruffle of the pillowcase. I'm going to use the edge that's already finished, because that way I don't even have to worry about finishing that edge. So how long do we want this ruffle to be? Personally, I'm going for drama here. I want this to be really romantic. So I'm just looking at a tape measure and eyeballing it. Think about how long you want the ruffle to be. And for me, 11 feels good because that's a magical number. And also it gives me enough length to feel the drama. I'm going to place my tape measure 11 inches up from the edge. So here's my 11. And I'm going to take up Sharpie and just mark the height, a little dot. Okay, so now we've got all this great lace. Nice long strip. Okay, so here we have the pillowcase. This is the open end. And I'm just going to take my lace with the cut edge facing the back of the pillowcase, so that the finished edge will be the edge of the ruffle. And I'm not even gonna pin this because that's how I roll. This is all very intuitive and I'm not trying to make anything perfect. And now it's time to sew, but That means somebody would have to get up. Mr. Miko. Can I sit there? Can mommy sit there? Do you want to get up so mommy can sew? I know, it's such a comfy spot. This is where I need to sit to sew. Okay, come on, let's go. Okay, come on. I love you. So, funny story, I've actually never had a sewing machine where the bobbin winder worked on it. So, I have been hand winding bobbins as long as I can remember. And lately, I have remembered that this is by design, because when you hand wind a bobbin, you end up encoding a spiral pattern into the thread, which then stitches together your wearable talismans. So instead of the machine-made spiral, this is the handmade spiral. Okay, so here I've gotten to the point where I'm back where I started. So I've got all this extra lace here, and I've already met up with the point. So now I have lace all around. So I'm going to take a small pair of scissors and cut off about here. This way I have a little extra. Okay. Oh, so pretty. So now I'm coming over to the sink. I'm gonna get this wet, and then I'm gonna add it into the cauldron. Getting the fibers wet helps prepare the fibers to receive the color. So I'm gonna drop this right in. We already have a great color going. Give it a stir. And then while that is dyeing, we're gonna go make our second pillowcase. Okay, time to cut the floral ruffle. So again, I'm gonna use the edge of the tablecloth that's already finished. I'm gonna cut down 11 inches all across. I liked that width of the ruffle. Starting from just inside the curve, I'll cut 11 inches off, and then I'll go to this end and just cut 11 inches across. And probably with those two pieces from each side, that will be plenty, and I can just join them together. Okay, so I have a long piece and a shorter piece, and I'm going to join these together, and I will stitch these together. That way I have one long piece. And you can decide if you want to sew right sides together so the seam will be inside, or if you want to sew wrong sides together and have the seam be exposed. I'm going to do it that way because I like this raw edge of the linen is going to fray really nicely, and I want to add a line of fray to match that. So I'm just going to sew these together with about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And when I stop to make the next pleat, I'm making sure that my needle is down inside the fabric, and that will help hold it. Okay, now I am having way more than I need, so I am going to cut it off about here so that I still have plenty of overlap, but not all of this extra. So I'll just continue overlapping and go over where I started. See, we're getting this really lovely color from the avocado, so I think that will be perfect for the background. I'm just going to add this in. Oh, so beautiful. Give it a stir. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these pillowcases in the cauldron for at least a couple hours, if not overnight. I'm gonna check the color periodically, and when I'm happy with the pigment, I'll take them out, I'll let them rest and cool, and then hand wash them with some really gentle soap and let them air dry, and then we'll see how they turned out. We wave our magic wand and it's the next day. Let's see how we did. So this is how the avocado dye turned out. I think the color is just gorgeous. For reference, here is how we started out. This was the original pillowcase. Before and after. Let's see how the patterned one came out. So fun. So this was the original pillowcase. Before and after. So this pillowcase went into the avocado dye as well, because this was the original color of the fabric and that was quite bright to me. I wanted to age it a bit. So this is the finished result and I really love it. I love how the avocado softened the background. To me, this was just a bit too stark. Thank you so much for watching.